take 2, by the way. I have no idea what happened to the first edition. I did record it, and I see it was recorded, but who knows. So, this is short, and I'm dedicating it to my mother-in-law, Zichrono Barucha. She was Nifter and Chaf Dalad Iyar in 1983. So it's dedicated to her. Tzipor Rachel Bas Avram Moshe. This very special lady, a queen, absolutely queen, and real tzaddikus. So my wife could tell you more stories. But in the meantime, it was the she died on a Shabbos, on the 24th day of ER, and that was the 39th day of the Sphira, which is the same day as today. 39 days in the Sphira. Okay, that is another significant issue. Okay, anyway, let's go on to the Zera Shimshon. It's there's no interest on mitzvahs. It says, "Lo tikach mi'itay neshech v'tarbis es kas b'chol leisitin v'neshech." Okay, do not take from him interest and increase. Do not give him your money for interest. Now, the interesting thing is that when I was translating this into Shnayim Mikro Echad Targum, and the word for neshech comes in the Targum is mechubalaya. Chublaya is being like a mechabel, means a destroyer. Somebody destroys things. So it's interesting the way they translate that. Okay, the Kamor in Baba Basra Tanei writes that Hashem lends to those who give tzedakah and help the poor. As the verse says, Avid Levi Ish Malve. Whoever is gracious to the poor, Hashem lends to Hashem. It's Pasuk in Mishlei. As seeming proof of the Gemara statement that Hashem lends to those who give charity to their poorer brethren. How could the Rebbeinu Shalom reward someone who gives tzedakah and spends money to fulfill the mitzvahs of lending them reward above and beyond the payment they receive for doing a mitzvah? Isn't that a case of paying interest? That's ribbis, which is explicitly forbidden in the verse. Don't Chazal tell us that Hashem keeps all the entire Torah? If so, he can't pay interest. So how do we get this? The Torah in the Shulchan Aruch Yordea say that Torah scholars are allowed to return items they have borrowed from one another with interest. Since they know that it is forbidden, they give this interest as a complete gift. Now, the Torah and Shulchan Aruch specify that this leniency can only be relied on when it comes to very small amounts of money, the type of that people actually give one another as gifts. However, giving interest is not permitted when larger amounts are involved. And I might add that it's also spoken about that it's talking about food items. Like, for example, people will borrow a dozen eggs, medium eggs, right? And they can give back a dozen large eggs, which I have a hard time discovering the difference these days anyway. Large and medium. Anyway, someone who gives tzedakah or spends significant amounts of money on mitzvahs is definitely presenting that money to Hashem as a complete gift. As the Mishnah says, be like the servants who serve their master without thought of reward in Pirkei Avos, right? Not to receive reward, which means that anything that Klal Yisrael gives Hashem is given as a gift, with no strings attached. Furthermore, the reward that Hashem is promising here is small, since He only gives the interest in this world. As the Mishnah writes, a person partakes of the interest in this world, while the principle remains intact for the world to come. That's a Mishnah in Peah, which a lot of people do say before the davening every day. And take into account the Mishnah says, 1 hour of enjoyment in the world to come is infinitely greater than all of life in this world. So says Pirkei Avos 4:22, which means that Hashem considers that which He gives us in this world to be insignificant, just a small gift, and there is no problem of interest. So says the Zera Shimshon, and we may have a wonderful Shabbos Mevorchin and Bahar Bechukosai, a double Parshat, coming as quickly as possible to Shavuos, to receive the Kabbalah Torah b'Maloyai. Take care.